Hello again. Much sooner than the last gap. Anyway, I kind of glossed over the fact that yesterday I quit the gas station. And I didn't really give too many details. But I'm still kind of not freaking out. That is like an escalated for mildly annoyed is the word I would use for how I feel about the situation. But basically, I had been really tired of Chad's bullshit for quite some time. And recently, he's been making the employees go out and do yard work. Like, go there. The sign on the corner of the parking lot has a little bit of grass around it. And it's a very small bit of grass. But he wants them to go out and weed it. But it's like far enough from the entrance that someone could easily slip inside the store while someone has their back turned digging in the weeds and not notice someone run in and out. And it to me it seems very stupid when you have only one employee to make this employee go do shit like yard work. Like it's not that slow. Anyway, so he had asked the new girl to do it. She didn't want to. And then she said that after that conversation, he took away their chair. Previously, they had had a chair set up by the register. It has never bothered me that they sat down because I also sit down. As long as you stand up when customer comes in, it's fine. You're there for 6, 7 hours with no breaks. No breaks being the key here. It's not like we're constantly running around and doing stuff and then we get a 10-minute break after 2 hours and then we get a 30. You know, every other job where we're on our feet, we get some breaks. But there's nothing. So I personally have like advocated for them to be allowed to sit down. Chad took away their chair. All of the employees complained to me about it. Like, Chad took away our fucking chair. Can you believe that? And so I was like, I was annoyed for them. And honestly, I had told them to go ahead and take the chair out of my office. Just put it back before you close the store. Because Chad never goes there at night. So for the nighttime employees, it doesn't matter. And they've also been doing this thing where they sit slightly off camera. So if he's ever looking through the security cameras, he's not going to see them. Well, anyway, I didn't want to confront him directly about it and put my employees under the bus as if they were complaining. So I kind of waited it out to see what was going to happen. And then, so yesterday, I got called in to do a cashier shift. And I was kind of pissed about that because one of the things that they promised me when I was hired is you won't have to cover for anybody because we're a big company and we have a lot of employees. So I said, okay, thinking I would never have to cover for anybody. Lo and behold, they called me in. And I couldn't say no because I was already scheduled to do a manager shift for some of the same hours. But I basically told them I was originally scheduled for a 3-hour manager shift, which is basically ordering, deposit, safe shit, paperwork, whatever, and some organizing, which is what I usually do. But a lot of that I can't do, or is really a struggle for me to do when I'm the only person there, which is why I asked them to get me a cashier. So, given that I was already going to be there, I couldn't say no to at least the 3-hour cashier shift. So I told him, max I can do is 4 hours. So I sat there stewing all morning, really annoyed that there was no chair because I wanted to sit down because I had just worked 5 days at the grocery store and my legs hurt, my back hurt. I'm an old lady and I need to sit. So around 3 hours in, I texted Chad, "Hey, where's the chair?" He never responded. Then finally, around 10, when my shift was supposed to end, I saw him in his stupid lifted truck comes zooming into the parking lot like a fucking asshole and parked poorly. Then he came sauntering in and was like, "Oh, by the way, to answer your question about the chair, I took it away from the employees because I felt they were being lazy." And he said, "Everyone except for new girl and you." And I was like, I don't buy that. And then we had a little discussion back and forth about my philosophy and how I'm like, they're on their feet for 6-7 hours straight with no breaks. They should be allowed to sit every so often, as long as they are still taking care of customers and getting the job done. And then he hit me with, "Well, my mom was a nurse and worked 15-hour shifts with no breaks, and she never sat down." And like, I so wanted to call bullshit on that because I really call bullshit on that. I know they work really hard and I know they work long shifts, and I'm not discounting that. But you want to think she never sat down or never took a bathroom break in all that 15 hours? She didn't even stop for 5 minutes to sit down and eat something? Bullshit. So I already knew kind of where this conversation was going to go because I could tell he's already being combative. And I wasn't even being combative. My tone was very quiet and non threatening, non aggressive. Just, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling right now." And then he's like, "I'm not trying to be a hard ass." And I was like, "I don't know, it kind of seems to me like you are." And then I slipped up at some point and I said, "The employees are standing up for 8 hours straight." And he was just like interrupting me. He's like, Nobody ever has 8 hour shifts." And I was like, "Well, you know what I meant." Sorry, 7 hour shifts. Like, Jesus, if you're really gonna get that combative over a 1 hour difference, I already know this conversation's going nowhere. We're done. You're not interested in having a conversation. You're just coming up with clapbacks for everything that I'm trying to tell you. So this is not a discussion. It's just like talking to a brick wall, and I don't have the patience for this. So at that time, he was still kind of just going on and on and on, and I just sat there. I took out my key ring and I slowly undid the store key from my personal key ring, and I set it on the counter very carefully. And I said, "Well, I guess that's that. I don't want to argue anymore, and I've had enough." And he was, "You quitting?" And I said, "Yep, today's my last day." And then I took the tablet and I clocked out, grabbed my coat, and I walked out. And as I walked out, I said, "Thanks, Chad." And that was it. And that's the last time I'm ever going to talk to him. I'll pick up my last paycheck today. My employees are sad. I am still talking to them. And I'm trying to bring them with me to the grocery store. And it would be the funniest thing in the world if I ended up poaching all of my employees from this stupid little gas station and took them with me to the grocery store that I love so much. But that's the story of how I quit the gas station again for the second time. I made it about 2.5 months because I started like mid-January. I want to say January 15, and it is the beginning of April. So about 2.5 months. The second company was even worse than the first. What are you gonna do? But I've been told by my employees that he gave them a chair. After all of that, he finally gave them a chair. So at least I won that one little battle before I got out.